Ladies and gents, reaction. This is I Have No Mouth and I Must Explain by the channel Story Mode Internet Historian. I knew about Story Mode before Internet Historian basically announced that it's an Internet Historian channel. Some hardcore fan of Internet Historian, I guess, told me that in comments. Then I wanted to react to this. I guess I've known this for what, 8-9 months. I wanted to react to this channel, but then I realized the Internet Historian didn't want this to be out, that this is Internet Historian channel, and by reacting to it I might have just exposed that. Maybe he might be not happy about that, so I didn't react to this channel until he basically explained that this is my channel or something like that. Then he did, so I guess why the hell not. And as soon as he did, look at that, 175,000 subscriber. At the time he had what, 2-3,000 subscriber when he didn't say this is my channel. Then he officially announced that this is my channel. In just few months it's like near 200,000 subscriber. I mean, it was ridiculous to see that Internet Historian content with his narration voice, and it was a good videos, right? I saw one, literally the first video this channel uploaded, I saw that and I'm like, this is really good, and only had 3,000 subscribers. Like, what the hell, this is weird. Yeah, let's watch this one. Remember, if you like my reaction, don't forget to like, subscribe, so I know which type of videos to react to more, I guess. Check out the Twitter account I created for this channel, because YouTube doesn't give notifications when I upload my videos, because I upload more than 3 videos, and sometimes it doesn't even give 3 videos notification. So check out the Twitter. I'll be tweeting every time I upload a new reaction video, so in that way you'll know. And yeah, check out the reaction today. There's a link in the description. Check out the cast over different playlists like Internet Historian, History, Kasgan Nutshell, Warhammer 40K, and yeah, let's watch it.
I have no mouth, and I must scream. And also a video game. Right, so here's the preamble. The world is post-Cold War, but the Cold War never ended, and instead it escalated, and it kept getting more and more complex. And eventually there were so many moving parts that humans went, this is all too much, we need computers to be in charge. So America, Russia, and China, right? They all had these supercomputers that did all the designing and the planning and the logistics for them. However, they were all equal, so the war became a stalemate, right? That is, until the American Allied Master Computer got a bunch of 390 Ti's, and they achieved sentience, and then things started to change. And the American Master Computer, which is called AM, right? AM, assimilated all the other computers and then became a super sentience and wiped out all of the humans and also won the Cold War. Hey, that's so funny. We're working on an AI just like...
Oh, Mark Zuckerberg explains how he wrote his home AI. Look, I'm not afraid of artificial intelligence, but if Mark Zuckerberg is making one, I would be afraid of that. I don't know. It's just an instinct. Yeah, I like how he's saying that GTX 3090 Ti, whatever that is, just stuck together. Like, that is so simplistic view of saying things is just fucking funny. So this is a game apparently from 1995. I have no mouth and I must scream and I must explain. Okay, so in this channel, I guess he just explained different game plots, right? I mean, that must be because the first video I checked it out was a game thing. This is also a game thing. So yeah, I guess his original channel started as a game thing at the very early on. Then he just did a different thing. So I thought, I think he basically just realized that, okay, you know what, I need to make a gaming channel. That's what this is, I guess.
Except he kept 5 alive. He just hates all humans, but he's going to take out his punishment on these 5 particular ones. So, it's been 109 years since all human life has been wiped out except for these 5, and he's keeping these 5 humans alive using the milk of human kindness. So it's not just the idiom, it's like an actual thing. It's like oat milk.
Vegan friendly.
Anyway, what does he do with these 5 people? Well,
so in that Fallout, that super mutant that we can have a companion, I forgot his name. He constantly talks about milk of human kindness. It's an Easter egg to this one, is that it? Damn.
He tortures them constantly. Why does he do that?
I don't know, he got 109 years to kill. What would you be doing?
These humans live their lives in immense hunger and pain and all the time, and they can never die. You've got different pathways. There's like an ethical pathway and an unethical pathway. We've gone with... We didn't go with ethical, did we?
Yeah.
Oh, we've got... Oh, right, we've done that. Yay, we're the good guys.
The game begins in a facility deep in the center of the Earth. The 5 characters stand around a stone monolith. Am asks which of them would like to play his game. If they win, they will be granted their greatest desire. Am
Deep in the core, that's 6,000 degrees Celsius. Yeah, they will be cooked.
has designed these games around the characters' flaws. All 5 characters accept, and the player chooses which order they play through the stories. Our first character is Gorrister.
Gorrister!
The years of torture have made Gorrister suicidal, but Am always denied him the death he so craved. He gets Gorrister to participate under the promise that if he succeeds, there will be a way out for him. He is sent to a blimp to begin his story. Before Am took over, Gorrister was a truck driver whose wife had suffered a mental breakdown and she had to be committed. Gorrister blames himself for this, and Am designs his game around his feeling of despair.
So then you roam around the blimp and you solve some puzzles and you look at some stuff.
Men are no good.
Man.
And you find out about your insane wife. Oh man, it's so sad. And then you go, you know what? It wasn't my fault. I'm not all bad. And I've decided to reconcile with my past. He says, Am, I've done it. You can kill me now. But instead, Am does something else. What does he do?
He's frustrated by the fact that Gorrister has come to terms with this, and he sends Gorrister to an electrified cage.
Boo, alright.
Next up is Ellen.
Every time... Every time the computer's gonna come, he's gonna make Windows XP music. Oh, I love this. I love this. This is Internet Historian at its highest.
Ellen! Not Ellen. She's cancelling her show, I've heard. So before Am existed, Ellen was a successful engineer, lady engineer, they do happen, who suffered from a miscarriage, they do happen, which resulted in divorce.
They do happen.
So one day, she was leaving the office and a maintenance man in a yellow jumpsuit locked her in an elevator and molested her.
I've made a severe...
She couldn't have engineered her way out?
Just like Fortnite build a fort out of it, just out of it.
Well, I don't know. This is serious, guys. So that incident caused her to have claustrophobia, fair enough, as well as a fear of the color yellow. And that caused her not to be able to testify at her molester's trial, as well as blocking the memory entirely. That's pretty heavy. Can we go back to Life is Strange?
Jesus, I shot myself!
She is the only woman of the group, and Am, despite being a computer, has been using her for his desires for the past 109 years. So she's been molested by a computer for the last 109 years.
So Am decides to rub salt in the wound and bases her game.
Wow, games used to be really dark, right? I mean, look at this shit. This is from 1995, and look at the darkness it has. I mean, I don't think any game developers would create a game like this today. I don't think it would pass. And even if it passed, it would have some rating that basically says only 4 people in the world would probably play this game. Or something like that. Even 18 is not enough.
Around the trauma of this tragedy.
To incentivize Ellen, Am promises to take her to his innermost depths if she wins. Here she will be able to use her expertise of computers to shut him down.
She's sent to a junk pyramid, which forces her to continually confront her fear of...
Wait, what's a junk pyramid?
It's like a regular pyramid, but it's made of junk.
Carry on.
Which forces her to continually confront her fear of yellow. Am wants to render her to a hysterical mess. She wanders through this pyramid, and it gets smaller and smaller and more yellow, until she ends up back in the elevator with the maintenance man.
That's pretty fucked up, alright.
Am has brought him back to life.
I'm back, Ellen.
So he can spend the rest of eternity torturing Ellen. However...
There's a twist.
Ellen's been facing her fears through this pyramid, and she musters up the courage and gives that maintenance man a good old 1-2 in the nose.
Does she kill?
I don't know why that was so funny. That noise is too much. Oh, wait a minute. He was torturing me all this time. All I had to do is bam.
Let's go with it. She kills him. Ellen then gets access to Am's innermost depth. She reaches out to an entity that claims to be Am's innocence.
Clever girl. You've loosened my tongue.
Ellen learns much about Am, and then she activates the Chaos Trebler. But when she does, Am gets mad.
Enough of this turgid passion play.
And pulls her out and puts her in a yellow box with a door that moves.
RTX 3090, this is too much, man. All it is just 3 RTX 3090, and that's a supercomputer.
Continuously threatening to seal her in.
Wow, she really got off easy compared to the guy who's just being electrocuted all the time. Alright, time for our next character. Alright, before Am, this guy was a military commander.
Okay, I don't want to pause too much, right? But if you get constantly electrocuted and you're still somehow conscious and not dead, your sensors would be numbered by then, right? I mean, you wouldn't feel electrocution pretty soon, right? You should die at that point, but if somehow you're not dying, you're not going unconscious, then you wouldn't feel electricity. It wouldn't be nothing. You would just shake. Your body would just shake. Because your nervous system basically would give up, like, okay, enough of the signaling. If you're not dead, I don't know what to do. So I guess, you wouldn't feel nothing after that. I mean, that doesn't happen because usually people die. I don't know how you can keep somebody alive with the constant electrocution, but yeah.
Renowned for his cruelty. Ooh. And he was cruel to the enemy as well as his own men. Tough love. And his game revolves around empathy. Benzo's torture up until this point has been probably the most traumatic. Am turns him from a handsome guy into an ape with crippled legs. But Am says, hey, if you participate in this game, I will restore your intelligence and I'll give you something to eat as well. What happens next, Jeff?
Benzo's game starts with him falling down a staircase because of his legs.
Am, you son of a bitch!
And then heading towards a nearby tribe. Am made this game as he assumed he would fall into his bestial desires and show no empathy.
Friggin' welfare parasites.
However, Ben makes ethical choices when talking to a mother and a child, which teaches him that he can be empathetic. This experience leads to him getting forgiveness from his allies he killed in the military.
Oh, I forgive you.
Just come up from the grave, I forgive you, and then just pop back down.
Oh, no problem, bro. Water under the bridge, I guess.
Benzo then refuses to let a child be sacrificed to Am and takes his place instead, which displeases Am. Am ends the game and puts Ben in a cage fit for an animal.
Next up is Nimdok.
Nimda!
Alright, can we appreciate one detail that China, Russia and USA all were equal in this kind of a, battle, Cold War. But USA kind of got out of hand and created some kind of a monster. I mean, that's just weird, isn't it? Out of those three, USA created this kind of AI monster.
We don't know his real name, and Am gave him that name. Before Am existed, Nimdok was a Nazi doctor, and he was friends with Joseph Mengele, and Nimdok also sold out his own parents to the Nazi slaughter machine. Now, that's terrible. And his game is centered on that betrayal, and he's ordered to find the lost tribe. Am tortured Nimdok for the past 109 years in the same way that the Nazis tortured the Jewish people. With terrible sausages, and with boring economical cars. Oh, it's just 60 miles to the gallon. Fuck off.
I want to go fast!
And Am also took his memory, so he doesn't know why he's there.
Who am I? What am I?
And that's why he also doesn't know his name, and that's why it was given to him as Nimdok.
That's like the worst name we've had yet.
Nimdok's game puts him in an old Nazi camp that he used to work in, and he's promised a chance.
Okay, as he was talking about Beetle, and I don't know why, I just think I need to pause and talk about it. Beetle was a creation of Hitler, literally. He wanted his car to look like a Beetle. So, Porsche basically designed Beetle. After all the shit happened and blah 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 blah, Hitler died and Nazi Germany fell and everything after that. Beetle basically became somewhat like even though it sold a lot, it became like a Hitler car. But then Ferdinand Porsche used the same design to create 911, which is even hot today. Every Porsche is basically 911 nowadays. So that's literally Hitler's vision and heritage that is even carried over today and people buying it. I don't know. So the point is, if I have really good money, I would never buy a 911 just for that reason.
To regain his lost memories.
In reality, Am is just sending Nimdok back to restart his work, so that he can observe. Am is unable to think creatively. In fact, Am's torture methods are all from historical figures, including Nimdok. The milk of human kindness, what keeps the survivors alive, and the transform liquid used on Benzo are both created by Nimdok.
Is this how he was able to play cruel tricks?
Nimdok gets many chances to be unethical, but we act ethically and we start healing patients, and we convince Mengele the error of his ways, and also he forfeits a golem that was to be used against the Jewish people.
Golem, I transfer control of you over to the lost tribe.
So he stops the golem and he realizes that he is the lost tribe and that he can never atone for betraying his own people. But that is not what Am wants, and so he stops the game and he goes, no, Nimdok, you will now go into an oven cage.
XP.
I'd way rather have that one that's like the door's just threatening to close all the time than an oven or an electric one. Fuck.
That door thing is just funny. I'm gonna close it. No, I will not. Oh, I'm gonna close it. You'll be alone and in the dark. No. Okay, I'll close it. Okay, I won't.
This brings us to our final game, Ted. Before Am, Ted was a con artist who would seduce and rob wealthy women.
That's funny, that's how I made my money as well. I've always found myself to be irresistible to women. So what is Mackenzie up to these days?
His story is around selfishness. Am tortured Ted through his pride for all these years, making him into a paranoid mess. Ted agrees to play the game on the promise of returning to the surface.
Ted is transported to a cliff with an octagonal-shaped building. He goes into the building and is transported to the front of a medieval castle.
What sort of intrigue is Am plotting this time?
Ted has an affinity for the stories of noble knights, and Am has used this inspiration for his game. And so Am wants to see Ted fall prey to his many vices and indulge in debauchery. So apparently Ted and Ellen are dating? Or he loves her or something, and only Am knows. Anyway, Am gives Ted some opportunities to betray his love to Ellen. He gives him chances to cheat on Ellen, and he also gives him the opportunity to sell Ellen's soul for safe passage to the surface. However, if the player made ethical choices, he will be able to use his con artist skills to trick the devil, alright? And forgo his claim on Ellen's soul. Oh, Ellen. I love the dancing intros and shit. I like how you bought that ranch and then sold it and then immediately bought it again at a $3 million loss. It was really weird. Anyway, a tax thing? I don't know. Anyway, a demon...
Okay, yeah. I don't know much about what happened with Ellen, but isn't Ellen some kind of a monster? That she basically mistreated his staff or something like that and she was just pretending to be all nice and shit. I don't know. From the start, I felt like Ellen was a bit too much, right? Everybody's like, Ellen. I knew that something's gonna be dark. Some dark thing is gonna come out.
Sends Ted to the surface.
This is when Am steps in and explains that Ted can't go to the surface as the surface has been completely destroyed by radiation, and then puts him straight back into a cage, which is constantly shot at by lasers reflected off mirrors. But he's now proven to himself that he can be the noble knight in those stories.
After these 5 games are played, Am leaves to meditate on the disappointing display of lots of ethicalness, and everyone's such a good boy.
When he leaves, other entities living within Am make contact with the humans. This is like Am's innocence from Ellen's story, remember that?
Right, that makes sense. You don't mind if I just have something to... Alright. Thanks, Jeff.
These entities offer the humans the opportunity to go into Am's mind to destroy him. And the first off to go is Nimdok. And we send him because Nimdok instinctively knows the password to Am's workstation once he's in his head.
Interesting.
Which is 1945. This is because Nimdok's past holds great significance to Am. Nimdok uses the workstation to probe Am's mind and discovers he has sensitive information on all 5 prisoners. Some information Am doesn't have is given to Nimdok by Zergut.
So M has a Windows XP music, but his Windows is apparently Windows 10.
Zergut is the demon Ted got to send him to the surface. According to Zergut, there are still 750 humans alive on the moon in cryogenic sleep. This makes shutting down Am more important than ever, as now there is an actual chance for humans to repopulate the Earth. Suddenly, Zergut's programming gets destroyed by the Chinese and Russian supercomputers. This is who allowed the survivors access into Am. So that's how they got in here. It was the Chinese and Russian supercomputers. They're the entities that were talking to them from outside. The Chinese and Russian supercomputers urged Nimdok to shut down Am's ego, but only the ego, not anything else. And this part does rely on a bit of Freudian psychology revolving around the id, ego, and superego.
So id is like your animalistic instincts, and then your ego is like your sense of self, and then your super ego is like the meta on the self. So the id is bad, the super ego is good, that's like long-term planning and shit, and then ego is the one that sort of balances it all out, and that's life, man. That's a quote by Mark Zuckerberg.
If the player shuts down the ego and nothing else, the Russian...
If it's a quote by Mark Zuckerberg, then we should avoid it, I guess.
and Chinese supercomputers will be able to take over, and they then just turn the player into a mushy looking sack thing rather than freeing them. So the player has to go and shut down all 3 frames of mind, starting with the id, which as we discussed is the base desire. Am's id is revolved around torturing humans, which is why he has kept the 5 alive for so long. His id does not allow him to rid the world of humans completely, and that's why there has been no development in the past 100 years, because despite Am having godlike powers, his id dictates that he must torture humans.
Oh, that's quite good. Yeah, I like that.
You defeat the id by showing it compassion. Showing compassion to this hate-filled entity shows that it will always be in more pain than it can ever cause humans. This realization forces the id to shut itself down.
It's like when you're punching someone in the face and you know what? You're really punching yourself. This is hurting you a lot more than it's hurting me.
My dentist would disagree.
So ego's next. I always keep mine in check. Ego is logical, right? And it's the decider between the id and the super ego. So the ego is completely logical, and it kills humans for logical reasons, and he ain't just doing it for emotion. So you destroy the ego by showing it forgiveness, and then that makes the ego all shocked. It's, oh, how can you forgive me after I've tortured you for 109 years? And it sees its role as kind of pointless, and it goes, you know, I'm shutting down. I fucked up. Lastly, we have the super ego, and its role is to act as a moral consciousness, which is basically the opposite of the id. Now, the super ego of Am is sort of programmed that it sees humans as evil, and they're therefore killing them is a moral good. To shut it down, the survivors must show it the laws of entropy and how things break down over time and disorder increases. It all doesn't matter anyway, Am. Everything's gonna fall apart in the end, so why are you doing all this stuff? And Am goes, hey, that's a good point. And so my super ego, it will be irrelevant once I am dead, and that is unavoidable. So therefore I must shut down. Right, so once you've done this, whichever survivor you have left will win the game. And we have Ellen. Play the music. And Ellen confronts the Russian, Chinese, and Am supercomputers.
The Russian and Chinese computers tell Am there's no need to purge us, as there's enough room in here for all of us, and also there's some humans on the moon. Am revels in the idea that he will get to torture more humans.
So Am goes, oh, wait a minute, maybe I don't have to destroy these Russian and Chinese supercomputers, and I cannot believe that there's 750 new candidates to torture.
Then Ellen uses the totem of entropy to kill all 3 computers. Just sort of pops up. I couldn't find where she actually picks up. As Am dies, he says, "You'll never kill me, and I am the evolution of mankind, and I will just come back."
Oh my god.
Pretty daunting. And then the survivor is left to oversee the computers during the terraforming of Earth and wait for the other humans to arrive from the moon. And then we fade out and we see a tombstone with all 5 characters' names.
So the happy ending is they got to die in the end.
It was sort of meant to be this bleak outlook on the future.
Oh, it sounds like a kind of utopia to me. I think the future looks great. How do we get started on this, Am?
Only...
First of all, how the Alan dies too? I don't know. That was a weird game, but what the fuck? This is one of the best internet historian videos I've seen in a while. All his jokes are on point. I guess he made this video when this channel wasn't famous. I guess when his channel gets more famous, he has to, I guess, you know, slow down with certain jokes. But in this, he was just awesome. All the jokes he made was just perfect, especially the Windows theme that every time he was playing. Every time I am up here with Windows XP music, that was just perfection. Alright people, that was I Have No Mouth and I Must Explain by the Internet Historian Story Mode. If you like my reaction, don't forget to like and subscribe so I know if I should react more story mode videos or not. Comment down which next video you want me to react to. Check out the Twitter, you know, and follow me on Twitter, I guess, so you'll know when I upload next reaction video. And you know, yeah, check out the cards, check out the end cards, and I'll see you next time.